Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, we would like to acknowledge some members of the crowd. We ask that you please hold your applause until the end of the names. But we would like to acknowledge Assembly Member Jordan Wright, Council Member Sean Abreu, Commissioner Dr. Betty Rosa, David Greenfield, the CEO of Met Council, Dr. Debbie Almontasser, Minister Shirley Anand, Pastor Reverend Dr. Malcolm J. Bird, Pastor James Duckett, Pastor Philip T. Falahi, Rob Newman, the COO and Policy Director for the Met Council, Apostle Stacy Ramos, Dr. Brian D. Scott, Imam Muhammad Sahadullah, the Reverend Dr. Renee Francis Washington Gardner, Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, and Paul Breitenbach. And Betty Rosa as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and welcome the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Everybody, welcome, Eddie. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody for being here.
I'm going to speak first.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to introduce you.
You are, of course you are.
I don't have to introduce the governor anymore. This is amazing. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Stephen Grimaldi, the Executive Director of the New York Common Pantry. We are one of the many local boots-on-the-ground emergency food providers in the city. We're also a proud member of the Roundtable, Allies for Access, a coalition of 9 emergency providers with over 800 distribution sites across all 5 boroughs. We're collectively witnessing double-digit spikes in customer visits and growing pressures on staff, volunteers, and supply chains. The word is out that the SNAP cuts are coming, and the government shutdown is impacting the SNAP benefits starting Saturday. I want to thank Governor Kathy Hochul for coming here to pack pantry bags for hungry New Yorkers. Thank you. For drawing attention all week to the looming crisis. That should the federal government not act quickly, millions of New Yorkers will lose their SNAP benefits starting just 2 days from now. 79% of SNAP recipients are children, the elderly, or the disabled. As we heard from so many, as we'll hear from so many this morning, families are dependent on SNAP dollars to purchase groceries. SNAP provides 9 meals for every 1 meal that soup kitchens and food pantries provide. It is an essential program. According to the True Cost of Living report, 3 million New York City residents can't afford basic necessities, and there are 1.8 million SNAP recipients in our city alone. Put simply, we have a cost of living problem in this country, and we need to stop blaming its victims and start putting pressure on those electeds who blame and cut programs like SNAP. At the New York Common Pantry, we are already seeing a huge increase in the number of people seeking our services. Just yesterday, We served 585 households in this space alone. That was pantry bags of fresh produce and dry goods. That's the largest number we've ever served in any day in our 45-year history. In our case managers saw a 20% increase in the number of households that they enrolled in pantry services as compared to the same day last year. As more families need to rely on emergency food providers to fill the gap, food pantries and soup kitchens like New York Common Pantry and those in the Round Table will need additional support so we can meet the increased need. So now I'm honored to introduce someone who's been the sounding alarm for our Washington legislators to act now to avert this crisis. Please welcome the 57th Governor of New York State, Kathy Hochul.
First of all, Stephen, thank you, and everyone who's part of this incredible pantry, Common Pantry. You're doing God's work here on earth, and all of you are angels. You are truly the angels. And I'm not just saying that because I'm surrounded by clergy. I truly do feel that, as I see all of you who could be doing anything else with your lives, when you've dedicated your time, your energy, your passion to others. And regardless of your faith, that's a unifying force, that we're all on this earth to lift up others, make their lives better, a little easier. And that's why in this time of crisis, we come together as a community, elected leaders, community activists, faith community. We have our Commissioner of Education here who's understanding the need to keep our little kids fed in our schools, Commissioner Rosa. So let's give her a round of applause as well. But, Stephen, thank you for everyone who's part of the Common Pantry. I want to thank Senator Serrano. You'll be hearing from him momentarily. This is his district, as well as Assemblymember Eddie Gibbs. They represent this district with such heart and passion. We also have, as I mentioned, some members of the clergy, but also Reverend Al Sharpton, who's putting a national spotlight on this issue, through his broadcast, calling out the injustices in all the various platforms that he has. Also, Reverend Bernard, who's the pastor and CEO of the Christian Cultural Center, but he's also the head of our Interfaith Clergy Council. So I wanted to welcome him here today and thank him for inviting members of the Clergy Council. You'll also be hearing from Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, the Executive Director of Catholic Charities. We've worked closely together for most of my life as a young kid going around with my dad to collect money door to door for Catholic Charities, asking support for others. But also other members of government. Jordan Wright has joined us, Manny De Los Santos, Shauna Brew is here, Abreu. You'll also hear from other people affected. We think about the whole ecosystem of feeding people. Yes, there's the direct recipients, the families, the individuals who come here in person or have food brought to their homes. But also, if they're using SNAP benefits, they're going into a store, large, small bodegas, and they rely on that source of income from their customers. So there's an effect there when that money dries up. And where does a lot of that food come from? We are an agricultural state. Doesn't feel like it when you're in Harlem, but we truly are. So there's a lot of upstate small farms, big farms. They're also affected by this. So the ripple effect just goes on and on and on. And I will also say this, in light of the threats to our immigrant community, the uncertainty of knowing whether or not you show up in a line on the street, are you sitting prey to ICE agents who are watching for just that to happen? As I saw the people lined up out front, I said, gosh, they take the people that are going into the courtrooms legally, following what the law tells them to do. They're taking them and shipping them to places unknown. They're going to factories upstate New York, separating moms, nursing moms from babies under the age of 1, still not connected yet. And they could also be preying on people, not just the ones going to churches and synagogues and mosques and places of worship, because they are. But what about the vulnerability of people standing on a street like this, as they're going to have to do, because they can't get the food on their own now. They're going to have to come and rely on programs and services like this. So I'm looking at the whole scale of this. This is all bad. There's no way to sugarcoat this, what is being unleashed on our people, not just here, but across the entire country. And I call this out because you were here in Harlem on Monday talking about what we see coming. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. There's still time to stop this. It doesn't have to be this way. Republicans in Washington, get off the plane from globetrotting over there around the rest of the world. Get back in your office, call in the leaders of the Republican Party, who, by the way, run the House, the Senate, and the White House. Get together and figure this out. And by the way, I feel like I'm bringing a lot of bad news here, but at the same time we're losing the SNAP benefits, people are going to be getting their health premiums, the notice of what they have to pay for health care. Now, I think a lot of people didn't know that what they're getting is heavily subsidized because of President Barack Obama and the Congress, and I was part of Congress. I lost my seat because I supported the Affordable Care Act, but it was the right thing to do. They're benefiting today from subsidies that were increased during the pandemic as well. So people started thinking, well, that must be the cost of health care. It's going to go up 40% for many, many families. They're going to get the notice this month. The sticker shock, when that comes in the mail or how they get their information, is going to just say, are you kidding me? How much more can I take? Because those price increases will go up starting in January, not next year. And I'm not going to mention all the people are losing Medicaid because of the big ugly bill that was passed this summer. So we got different pots going on. Some of the impact is because of the shutdown. Some of it's because of the law that was passed last summer. And so right now, 48 hours from now, the clock's going to run out on 42 million Americans, including 3 million New Yorkers. And apparently our cries for help, their cries for help, have fallen on deaf ears. Now that's just not in a district like this. Those are in the 7 Republican districts from Long Island to Staten Island in upstate New York, where people are turning their backs on their own constituents. I've got a little advice for them. I've been in office a long time. That's not good politics for you either. Because people are going to remember next year how when life got really hard for them, and they asked you to try and reverse this, use your power that was given to you by the voters of your district. Can you use that to help us and stop this from happening? And when they just ignore their constituents, there need to be consequences, because there are going to be people in rural upstate New York and in places as densely populated as here in Harlem that are going to be hurting. And they should not ignore that specter. So they're inflicting pain on their own constituents, but that's not who we are. That's not who we are. We'll always embody the true spirit of New Yorkers. We stand up for each other when we're under attack. It's in our DNA. We can't help ourselves. It's what we've always done. We are a community of neighbors. I see that out here. As I said, I was helping pack some boxes of food, and I want to thank others who've stepped up. All of those who, truly care. And I mentioned some of the clergy. We have Bishop Hyde here as well, Episcopal Church, or Bishop David Greenfield is also here. David, are you here? I didn't see David Green. Not here? Does he want a grand entrance to me? Does he want a drum roll? Okay, David Greenfield, soon to be arriving, the CEO of Met Council, is doing an extraordinary job, making sure that people have what they need. And Dr. Debbie here, representing the faith community as well. So many people, but it's hard to think about this, because I was up there packing some proteins, some beans. I'm trying to think, I'm a mom, How am I going to turn this into food? I grew up with a family of 8. That wouldn't have gone very far. And my parents, they took us to get the day-old bread from the used food store, the old food store around the corner. We didn't get the fresh bread. We bought our clothes at used clothing stores. We bought it on layaway because we didn't have money. We weren't starving. I'm never going to exaggerate what we did. We ate. We had a lot of Spam. We had a lot of stuff out of cans, a lot of Hamburger Helper. But I don't remember going to bed with my stomach growling. We were never that bad off. And there's people in our city, the state that I love and cherish, where that's happening. So moms thinking about little kids' stomachs growling or sitting in a classroom, Betty, that's hard to accept. And how can that happen in this great country? The most prosperous, wealthy countries in human history. How can we let that happen? How can we turn our back on people? 800,000 seniors, nearly a million kids. And this will be historic because this is the first government shutdown in our history where they did not make an accommodation for food. Every other one, they said, we can make our political points, we can do this, we can do that, air traffic controllers, some flights are delayed. Okay, that's all painful and bad. But never before have they literally said, we're going to stop feeding Americans. So we're not going to be passive observers to this. I have to be honest. No state, including our own, can backfill the money because I'm going to tell you a number. It's $650 million every month is what we get from the federal government, our people do, for SNAP programs. We can't backfill that, but we have some strategies. My team have been working around the clock to make sure that we can minimize the impacts, make sure that no one misses a meal. Last week, we just kicked off $11 million in emergency food relief. Monday, we fast-tracked $30 million in emergency food relief. But you know what? But I went back to my team and I said, that's not going to be enough. So that's why today I'm officially declaring an emergency. This is a food emergency. And I want to unleash every tool at our disposal to keep New Yorkers from going hungry. Here's what that means. In addition to the money I just mentioned, my team has secured an additional $65 million on top of that. The new emergency funding, bringing our total investment this week alone to $106 million. That'll provide over 56 million meals to help stock our food pantries and our distribution centers. Number two, I need more people. Stephen, you mentioned 500 families coming. Where's Stephen? Stephen. 585 families. You need more help? You need more people. So what I'm deploying is something we started, our Empire State Service Corps and our SUNY Civic Engagement Corps. I'm bringing in students. I'm bringing in students from all over the state to help out here. They'll be your frontline fighters. I'm bringing them right here, all over New York. Third, as I mentioned, our commissioner, we're continuing to find ways to utilize our schools as food hubs. I mean, right now, and I'm real proud of this, working with my legislators, we now, for the first time, have committed that the state will cover the full cost of breakfast and lunch for every single school child everywhere in the entire state. Everywhere. But I'm thinking, what if we pack some extra sandwiches and they can take them home? Because that might be dinner. There might be a younger child, preschooler, who needs something before he or she goes to bed. So how do we figure that out? So we're working closely, and I want to commend again the commissioner for helping us with this. We're going to work it out. We're told that we're not going to be, they're sending down nasty messages from Washington. Nasty. Like, you cannot use any state dollars and expect to get reimbursed after this shutdown is over. It's like, okay, that's kind of harsh, but we'll keep going. We're being told that we cannot send food home. Okay, I'm going to find an end run or some way to get around that one. And I'm thinking, I said, well, can we describe it as leftovers from lunch? Okay, it's not new food, it's leftovers. So we're working on it, but we're going to get this done, right, Betty? Let's get this done. I want to thank Betty Rosa so much for her help. And also, I'm setting up, people are not sure where to go. I mean, there are people who maybe need this help every week, and there's others who this is a very foreign world to. They don't even know where to go, right? So we have our Office of Temporary Disability Services will have a page of resources. So we will tell you where the closest food bank is. And it's newyork.gov/food assistance to learn more. And lastly, I just want to put this out there. This is a moment for our community to rise up and respond to something that can only be described as a moral crisis. Because I believe it's immoral for people to suffer, because Republicans will not unleash the food emergency funds that are sitting there. That's immoral. It's immoral for the government, the federal government of the most prosperous, wealthy nation on this earth, to allow children to go hungry and wake up even hungrier because you don't get full during the night. I believe it's immoral for our federal government not to pay the workers who are showing up every day and being forced to rely on others' generosity, as we hear federal workers, again, finding their way to food banks. And I believe it's immoral for individuals and families to have a safety net that they have counted on in their time of need, literally ripped away from them while Republicans play political games. So this is a morality question to me. So today is a call to action. Our philanthropies and frontline foods organizations need more help. And I want to thank some who are here. CEO of R4, Paul Breitenbach. Paul, raise your hand.
Right here.
Paul, thank you. Thank you. Paul is sending over 6 tons of food to New Yorkers this week.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. That is amazing. So that's a challenge to others. I'm putting out a challenge to New York because we have compassionate, good people. And I need your help. Yes, the young volunteers, the students, we'll bring them here. We'll put in more money. We'll help out there. But I need some big dollars to show up as well. I need those big volumes of food to show up as well. So every business can donate food or money. Every person can volunteer. Every place of worship, and many do already, can be a place of pickup or distribution. And every school can be a respite from the harshness of hunger. And if this shutdown drags on, and Republicans continue down this inhumane path, my team stands ready. I'll keep digging. I'll keep finding. We'll find a path forward. And I'll continue working with our great Attorney General, Tish James, and go to court, because we're suing on this one as well. We're in court on this one and any other challenges. So let me wrap up by saying this. The human cost of this shutdown is so real. It's not just a story you're seeing in the news. It is real. Real human beings are suffering. This Saturday, moms across the country might have to skip their own meals so their kids can eat. That's not in some story somewhere. That's reality. Seniors rationing what they have left in the cupboard because they know their SNAP benefits aren't going to be there. We also, as I mentioned, we've got the food supply system, our food pantries, mom and pop groceries, bodega owners, our farmers. We've been joined by Julia Van Loon, an independent distributor from our farms. You're going to hear from Julia, and you're going to hear from Ruben Luna, the owner of Key Food right here in Harlem, because they're also going to suffer. They're also going to feel the effects of this. And I'm going to say one more thing, because this really upsets me. You can tell I'm really upset. I mean, this is bad. This is bad. In September, the Department of Agriculture in Washington that oversees this, they put out a message saying that they'll be able to keep the food coming during the shutdown. That made us feel good. Okay, they understand. They had over $5 billion setting aside in emergency SNAP funds. They said they're green lighting the use of that money. But somehow the memo that said they were going to do that is no longer on the website. Mysteriously disappeared. And now when I wrote to the Secretary of Agriculture and said, can you unleash the money, and I and other governors did, they said there's nothing we can do. I'm not buying that, because clearly that means they don't care about 42 million Americans who will be hungry now, even through Thanksgiving, possibly. Small business owners, farmers. So my message to Republicans in Washington, get back to work, restore the health care premiums, turn the federal government back on, and start feeding hungry Americans once again. And I look at Scripture a lot. I was raised in a social justice Catholic household. Isaiah 58:10 says, if you spend yourself in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, your light will rise from the darkness, and your night will become like noonday. I'm honored to stand here with people who understand that call to action, all of these individuals here. And I'm reminded, also this one we talked about at my dinner table all the time, teachings of Jesus Christ. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. Because whatsoever you do for the least of my brothers, you're doing for me. And if you do not show compassion for the needy, then you are not on the side of righteousness. I believe that. The Republicans can cross back onto the side of righteousness right now. But right now they're straying very far. And we must be calling them out on that. And caring for others is fundamental to my faith teachings and the faith teachings of all of us. But somehow that has not gotten through to the faith teachings of those in Washington with the power to stop this from happening. So it's a painful time for our brothers and sisters, but I will never give up hope. Oh, we live on hope in New York because we always have the capacity, the deep well of compassion and love for others that allows us to rise up. And this is the moment we are doing that, my friends. Do not underestimate the power of the people of this community, this city, or the state when it comes to fighting for those who've been knocked down, because we're on their side. Thank you very much, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome State Senator Jose Serrano.
I was going to say that. There you go.
Thank you very much, Governor Hochul, and thank you for your tremendous leadership on this issue. My sincere thanks to New York Common Pantry for their many years of service to this community, and my colleagues in government, Eddie Gibbs, the Assembly member, Reverend Sharpton, and so many people here. Governor, your approach today really represents a very comprehensive approach to a really tragic issue that we're all dealing with here. I represent the 29th Senate District, which covers East Harlem and the South Bronx. These are two communities that have experienced the health disparities that come from food insecurity for generations. And this has had real impacts, economic impacts. It has really held back a community. And here with this, what's happening here with this SNAP, loss of SNAP, as the governor said, it's immoral, it's wrong, but it also makes no sense. It makes no common sense to take away the lifeblood of a community that not only serves to keep folks healthy and to keep kids in school and to keep our elderly well-fed, but it hurts our local supermarkets and bodegas. It hurts the jobs at these locations. It hurts our farmers in our entire region. And I represent Hunts Point, which is one of the largest, or the largest, food distribution centers. The impact along that line, it just makes no economic sense. So, of course, we believe wholeheartedly in the morality of the situation and what we have here in front of us. But let's not lose sight of the fact that the ripples that will come from a loss of SNAP will have a detrimental effect for a very, very long time. And with that, I would like to introduce my colleague in government, the Assembly member from East Harlem, who's been a fighter on issues like food insecurity for many years, Eddie Gibbs.
Thank you. First and foremost, I never take off my Pittsburgh Steelers hat. But for my Common Pantry family, they always require that I wear a T-shirt or the hat when I'm coming in here. Good morning, guys. To the 57th governor, the first woman governor, the amazing Kathy Hochul, I thank you for coming to East Harlem, caring about our constituents, caring about food insecurity, caring about the community in the whole. You remind me of a big sister, of a mom, of an aunt who just come running every time we're in trouble, and you always deliver for us.
Thank you.
So I thank you. Times like today, we don't need politics. I even dare to say we don't need politicians. We need people-ticians, people who care about people. But we're not going to use this platform today to discuss that, because when you have the great Reverend Al Sharpton behind you, speaking behind you, you're excited to hear what thus says the Lord. So I'll be short this morning. And I just want to say, lovegov.com. Say it one more time with you guys, lovegov.com. Now, I know it's raining outside. We could do better than that. Lovegov.com. Thank you.
Thank you to both you and to our state senator. Let me say from the outset, I got a call several days ago from Bishop Matthew Hyde, who's standing here, the Episcopal bishop, saying, Rev, what are we going to do about the pending crisis with SNAP program? And Reverend Malcolm Bird, who's a pastor's a Mother Amy Zion here, and he's a COO of National Action Network, was in the office. And I said, well, we need to do something. And before I could get off the phone, Governor Hochul called. And she says, I want the moral leaders to stand up in this state and make this issue clear, because I'm getting ready to do something. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to do something about it. She said, but I want people to understand this is a moral issue. Mm-hmm. This is not a political issue. And I said, well, Governor, I got to go back on radio. She said, go to commercial. Now I'm talking. And she raised the issue and said, I'm going to reach out to A.R. Bernard and rabbis and others, because you faith leaders preach this. Now it's time to put faith in action. So what this governor's doing, and she was at $11 million then, she's gone up to $106 million. To see this governor in action is a moral challenge to those of us that claim to be represented in God. And it is a moral challenge to all of us. Let me be real clear. We're talking about we're 2 days away from people not knowing how they're going to feed their families. It's not whether it's Republican, Democrat, urban, or rural. We're talking about literally people putting food on the table. And anybody that can act like that's a side issue does not deserve to be not only in office, but they don't need to be a part of the human conversation. This state has a leader in Kathy Hochul that says, not here. How can you, 48 hours before a family loses the meager assistance they have, be worried about building a ballroom for $300 million? And she has to scrap up some money to feed people. And then those that act like people that are on these lines have done something wrong. I grew up in Brownsville on welfare. My mother was a domestic worker. That was the snap of that day. There is no joy in standing in line to get food. There's nothing to be proud of to say your family has a problem. So don't denigrate those that we've not uplifted. So I'm here today because she is setting a moral tone for this nation, that everybody is not suffering from social amnesia and feel that they have nothing to do, and no role in trying to deal with what's about to happen. This is not about anything other than what we stand for. And that is our values, that is our principles. We can argue about other items, we can be divorced on various political situations, but we all must unite around the issue of feeding those that need it. We're talking about children. We're talking about babies. And they should not have to give their green card to be able to eat a meal in this country and in this city and in this state. So I think it's a salute to her leadership that you have some of our leading imams and your leading rabbis, see Reverend Kevin Johnson, one of our leading Abyssinian Baptist Church, our leading pastor, all of us coming together. We may not agree on all of the same interpretation of scriptures, but all of them said you must feed the hungry, care for the outcast, care for the homeless. Otherwise, you can close your book and stop going up in front of any congregation and talk about morality when you see immorality and you turn your back. Thank you, God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Ruben Luna.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. My name is Ruben Luna. I'm from the National Supermarket Association. Our association control in the 5 boroughs about 80% of the food that's being sold in New York. I'm not here to think about how much money our company is going to be losing because of the cup of the SNAP. No, we're not here for that. Our worry is the family who's not going to be receiving food in the table for the children. I'm not here to please any political party. We can be in different political party, but we cannot disagree in the food in the table for our children. It's very important that we had to let the governor, the president, that we had to protect our country first, not going to other country, pleasing somebody else while our country is suffering. I'm not here for no political party, but I'm here worrying about the people that are suffering in the United States, not only in New York. And we worry about, we have some visitors from the police in every supermarket that we have. We don't worry about anybody going to break. Our community is great. They work with us. They're good people. We don't worry that they're going to break tomorrow. We worry about the food of our children. I remember when I came to the United States in 1978, my mother used to take food stamps. I remember. My mother used to work in a factory in Alexander, cleaning, but she didn't have enough to support 12 children. She didn't have enough money to give us the food. Today, I'm a businessman, but I never forget where I'm coming from. I grew up in Harlem, yes. My first supermarket was 111 on Madison Avenue. Beautiful people that work hard to support their family, send them to school. I know the need of the people. I know that what the people are making right now is not enough to pay the rent. People are living check by check. Check by check. I've been doing the turkey drive, which you all invited. I give out 6,000 turkey in Washington High. Not political. It's for everyone who needs it. We give out 6,000 turkey, 6,000 bag of food. And right now, I think it's going to be a lot higher because it's a lot of need. The price is going up. We know that the price is going up. When I pay my workers that make 40 hours, and I see how do they make it, because I know our prices. When my wife got to shop at the store, the bill is so high, only for me and her. Imagine who has children. So let's work together. Let's put the political thing on the side. We cannot play with the food of the people. We had to protect our people. Please, let's get together. Let's send a message to the president. It's enough. Let's work together, and God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Julia Van Loon.
Thank you. Probably the only one with a notepad. My name is Julia Van Loon. I'm the founder of Slate Foods, and I have what seems forever been feeding kids in New York State. I am a New York grown and certified producer as well as distributor. I buy cattle in Cayuga County every week, 10 cows every Friday, and I turn that into nourishment for children. I distribute because I'm already going. So we are in all 5 corners of the state. I am up to Watertown, out to Southampton. And when I'm not producing, I'm in the kitchen cooking, teaching scratch cooking, because I really, really love what I do. Somebody was saying that I'm the largest beef producer in New York State. I'm going to have to bet that. I'm not so sure that's true, but I definitely do produce a lot. And I want to share a story of what happens when you lose these local connections. And programs like SNAP and Nourish. When the pandemic hit, I had about 250,000 pounds of frozen beef in a freezer on Long Island, OGS warehouse. And I looked at my husband and I was like, this is how it ends. We're done. The schools were closed. I had created all their orders for the spring. And then Nourish happened within weeks. I got a phone call from Long Island Cares, and he said, how much do you have? And I said, 250,000 pounds. And he said, I'll take it. I said, okay. And I said, but now what? We need more. This isn't over. So we started producing more. I called my farmers. They didn't send their cows to Cargill without the customers. They sold them to me. And so we kept producing. And what happened was, we did distribute every ounce of that 1,000 pounds of 250,000 pounds in a matter of weeks. And then we kept creating more and more products, and then we showed up. We started working at the food banks in the Bronx. I only live a few blocks south of here, so it was easy. I'd go to the Bronx and I'd help give out my products because they did need people to help. And it taught me something I'll never forget. When New York invests in its own food system, as you have done, thank you, it doesn't just fight hunger, it sustains the people who grow and deliver the food. So speaking for the farmer, it is a ripple, for sure. And that's why the conversation about SNAP matters so much. It's not only a lifeline for families, it's a market for our farms. Every SNAP dollar spent at a farmer's market or a grocery store sends revenue back into the fields, into the dairies, processing and distribution hubs. It's not a trickle of charity, it's about a ripple of stability. It's not a trickle down, but a ripple through. Not a charity, but collaboration, and not dependency, but dignity. And that's the true economy of nourishment. SNAP and Nourish work hand in hand. One keeps households secure, the other keeps farms and food flowing. But what happens when the customer disappears? Families can no longer afford to buy what farmers are growing. That food doesn't stay here. It enters into commodity markets, fair trade, fair price, and shipped out. So about $1 of revenue that I may make, I would say an 85 cents, even 90 cents sometimes, goes right back out into our economy. And if you're an accountant, you're probably saying, well, you're really in the wrong business, But I'm a mission-based company. I'm not doing this for any reason other than the fact that I believe in feeding our own.
There you go. That's great. Thank you.
So I want to thank you, Governor Hochul, for protecting both our families and our farms. Nourish New York's not charity, and when you codified this program into law, you created one community in action. And New York invests in its own food system, and it will. And we can feed ourselves in every season through every storm.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reverend Dr. A.R. Bernard.
Good morning. This is a strange position to be in, that we have to rally around servicing the most vulnerable in our society. Some of you in this room don't know what government peanut butter or government cheese is,
Come on.
or powdered eggs. Servicing the most vulnerable has been an American tradition. And the disruption of benefits, the delay of services raises more than economic concerns. It raises moral and ethical concerns about our values, about our policies, about our practices, about the America that we are becoming. I commend the governor for stepping up. And we all need to step up. We all need to step up and get out in front of this. Our pantry in East New York, Brooklyn, we have served 71,000 people year to date, and now we're preparing for that potentially reaching 125,000 by the end of the year. It's putting a strain on our systems, and getting the labor force to work with us has been a challenge. This is the time for faith community, civil leaders to stand together, not in partisan alignment, but in moral clarity. Because as the governor has emphasized, this is a moral issue. Thank you, Governor, for doing what you're doing so well. And thank you to all of my colleagues and all of the organizations that are represented here that continue to do justice when it comes to the most vulnerable in our society across this state. Let's be a model for the rest of this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Monsignor Kevin Sullivan.
Thank you. I am here, as is the CEO of Catholic Charities of New York, because of Julia, who this week is at one of our food pantries in Port Richmond. We're here because in Mott Haven, Robert, who is a working dad, shows up because he can't feed his family for the entire month. We're here because of Jose, who will show up this week in Washington Heights, still struggling, unsure of the fear that he lives in, but needs a meal. We're here because in Haverstraw, Julia, a grandmother, is there because she's taking care of her grandchildren, and she needs to make sure they get a decent meal. We're here because in Kingston, Antonia is trying to figure out, is she going to pay the rent or is she going to buy food? And why we are afraid this Saturday and next week is because we think the Julias, the Antonios, the Roberts, the Anthonys, they're going to bring their neighbors because their neighbors are not going to be able to make it. And will we be able to feed them? All of the statistics that everybody mentioned here are absolutely critical. But we're concerned about that individual grandmother, that working father, the kids who need it. So, Governor, thank you for your stepping up to the plate with the additional here. And I don't think I'd be doing my job if I said, you know, the budget's coming up in next year. Nourish New York, HIPNAC. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. Thank you all for coming.
Can I get a picture? Yeah.